If you were a fan of Sega's in the 1990s, chances are you played Sonic the Hedgehog in some form. Whether it was on the Genesis, Master System, or Game Gear, he seemed to be everywhere and talked about by everyone. The original launched in the summer of 1991, slingshotting the property to instant stardom. It sold millions of units, increased the installed base of the Genesis incredibly, and helped Sega compete favorably with Nintendo for the very first time in North America. So popular was the IP, Sega spun it out into an animated TV show, comic books, toys, and a number of other areas to increase its exposure. With things going so well, it was only natural for a sequel to materialize soon after. Sonic Team would begin work on Sonic 2 almost immediately after the first game, and it was released worldwide in November of 1992. Just like the first, it was met with massive critical and commercial acclaim. It sold millions of units, became a pack-in title to boost hardware sales, and pretty much solidified Sega's presence in the 16-bit home market. But was Sonic 2 actually any good, or did it just play it safe and do more of the same? In this episode, we will be taking a look at Sonic 2, break down what it got right and wrong, and I'll give you my final opinion. Some of you didn't care very much for my review of the first game, so let's see if this one does any better. The story here piggybacks onto the first with the evil Dr. Robotnik returning to try and conquer the world yet again. This time he is building the dreaded Death Egg, and only Sonic can stop him with the Chaos Emeralds. Sonic has a new sidekick tagging along called Tails, and he has a new move called the Spin Dash to help him crush his enemies. Gameplay is pretty much identical to the first overall. It's still momentum based, you still jump on your enemies, and speed plays a big role in getting around the stages. Those stages are typically loaded with places to build up speed and keep it going, though you do face your fair share of obstacles along the way. You get a lot of variety in locations as well. Sonic gets to run through casinos, oil refineries, aquatic ruins, caves, and even massive air fortresses. The new Spin Dash is easy to implement and fun to use. All you need to do is press down in the attack button to build up speed and then let it go, shooting Sonic off into a blur that can take down enemies, get him up steep inclines, and damage bosses. Your sidekick Tails is with you on your journey and is ever present on the screen. If you have two controllers plugged in, a second player even has some measure of control over him, making this the first game in the series with a co-op gameplay option. You do of course have the choice of playing as Tails or Sonic alone if you choose. Special stages are back but have been heavily modified over the original. Instead of a Mode 7 style spinning labyrinth, you get a forward-scrolling pseudo 3D half-pipe where you collect a set amount of rings to keep the action going. Do well enough and you get a Chaos Emerald at the end, of which there are 7 in total now. These stages do get tough as you collect more emeralds. Unlike the original game, having all of the emeralds grants you the Golden Sonic power, an almost invincible version of the Blue Blur that is even faster. You also need all 7 emeralds to view the true ending of the game. I think many of you will agree when I say the first game was a real looker in 1991. Despite the tiny 4 megabit cartridge, it was colorful, had loads of parallax scrolling, and was fast and smooth the majority of the time. Sonic 2 improves just about everything, however. Now on an 8 megabit cartridge, there's more animation, the color seems to be in full tilt overload, and man do you have to get excited every time you see all those layers moving in the background. The shield transparency has also been improved quite a bit. The first area, Emerald Hill, is very reminiscent of Green Hill Zone, managing to capture the same feeling without directly copying it. It feels safe, almost like coming home, and is a great opening act to adjust to the gameplay. Chemical Plant is darker and more sinister, making you feel like Sonic is in an area that can kill him at any moment. Aquatic Ruin feels like Sonic is deep in his adventure and has run across an oasis of beauty within the storm. This serves as the water level similar to the ones in the first Sonic, but are much more open, allowing you to keep moving without stopping constantly. Casino Night brings Sonic into the more metropolitan setting and throws you straight into the chaos of being tossed around like a pinball. Hilltop brings us back to the feeling of the first area, but with much more danger. This is a beautiful area with great backdrops that hide death around every corner. Mystic Cave toys with you, making you think the open paths are safe, yet spikes await you in the most dubious of places. Oil Ocean brings you a similar threat of the chemical plant, but adds a lot more verticality. Later levels add even more variety to the visuals and layouts, giving Sonic 2 a look and feel that is quite a step up from the first. I remember the holidays of 1992, my 17-year-old self playing this one just to soak up all those great sights and bask in the glory of its plethora of background layers. Sonic 2 was a beauty, there's no denying that. One of the things I loved about the first Sonic was its music. It's one of the things about the game that really made me keep coming back for more. Could the sequel here ever hope to meet that same level of quality? Well, yes it does. The stuff here is just as memorable, and I dare say better in many ways. FM synth could be so distinctive and enjoyable when done correctly, and for the most part every track here is worth a listen multiple times. Like the visuals, the variety in each piece really stands out and leaves you more than satisfied when it's all over with. I have some favorites, so let's have a listen. Not to mince words or come off as unclear in my opinion here, but Sonic 2 is radically superior to the first when it comes to stage and boss design. While the apple doesn't stray far from the tree, these levels tend to have little of the insufferable slowness of some of the first game's areas. Even when it does slow down, it keeps the energy up by always keeping you moving. It's not perfect by any means, however. There are some spots where I was screaming at the television because I was stuck in some bouncing nightmare I couldn't seem to get out of. Some of the stage design was also confusing because it shoots you around so fast and everything looks so similar. The boss fights are also way too easy, something the game itself suffers quite a bit. You'll easily blast through 90% of Sonic 2 with zero issues. Like the first, getting all the Chaos Emeralds is the real challenge here and really adds quite a bit to the difficulty. Overall though, I feel Sonic 2 bests the first game quite strongly. I also feel this is a much better looking effort on the platform visually. No doubt the double meg size helped with the assets, and those backgrounds just look so much more alive and inviting. Hell, half the reason I play this to this very day is for its eye candy. Add in the incredible sound presentation and you have one hell of a game that did the hardware and company proud. The more I think about it, my outlook and acceptance of this title may also have something to do with my expectations. The first game came along and I wanted more of Green Hill Zone in the later stages. I wanted more speed, more enemies, more dangers that required quick decisions. As the first game slowed down, the less I enjoyed it. Going into the sequel here, I had a much more measured expectation, and it was well met with the improved stage layouts and variety. Sonic 2 was far from perfect, but it improved enough to really hit it out the park for me. Pound for pound, it's one of the best in the series, I feel, and some of Sonic Team's best work. One of the interesting areas of Sonic 2's design was the addition of competitive multiplayer. Utilizing the platform's interlaced 320 by 448 mode, it used a split-screen approach to give each player their own view. The goal was essentially to compete in each race that graded you on your time, rings, and item boxes. I always found the squashed look of the visuals here off-putting, but I had friends that loved the hell out of it and always wanted to play it. You'll also be interested to know that Sonic and Knuckles lock-on technology used Sonic 2. Connect the two cartridges and you get to play as Knuckles for the entire game. I really enjoyed this feature because it added replay value to an older game at the time. Sega could have really pushed the Genesis a few more years with add-on cartridge technology. I wish they had done more with it. Sonic 2 also made its way to the arcade for Sega's Mega Play platform in the UK and Japan. It's the same game as before, it's just missing the two-player mode and the option screen. For you Sonic lovers that just can't get enough, a Sonic 2 was created for both the Master System and Game Gear around the same time. Like the first 8-bit release, it has a number of different design elements and has Sonic trying to rescue a kidnapped Tails. It's considered by many to be quite excellent, though I highly recommend you play it on the Master System due to the higher resolution. Unfortunately, this version was never released in the United States. Most of the media at the time loved Sonic 2 and its popularity endures to this very day. You have countless ways to play it now, from compilations to enhanced ports. I'm not kidding, Sonic 2 is pretty much on everything under the sun in one form or another. Sonic 2 was also one of the very first times I had read about Sega of America and Sega of Japan having trouble working together. It was developed at Sega Technical Institute in California. The Japanese Sonic team was mixed with some of Sega's American staff and things did not go well. The differing styles, the language barrier, and the vastly different corporate cultures became a defining moment for just how dysfunctional the company was. This went far beyond a simple rivalry between internal teams. It bordered on hatred and disrespect. So intense was this conflict, it spilled over into future development, affecting titles years after the fact. Stories do vary on who the assholes were, but needless to say, I advise you to read up on it if you ever want to see the inner workings of Sega's problems during their rise and fall. Fortunately, Sonic 2 still made its way out in stellar fashion. Sega had a major success with its pre-order campaign, launch, and financial success, something that gets lost in all the negative stories about their history. In fact, for all the stories you hear about Sonic's lack of success in Japan, it still managed to sell roughly 500,000 units there, which was no small thing on a platform with such a tiny installed base as the Japanese Mega Drive. Of course, Sonic Team would go on to produce a few more 16-bit Sonic titles that were pretty damn good as well, and I plan to take a look at those at some point in the future. I'm Sega Lord X, thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you next time.